Ronald Fenty, the man behind the megastar, love, loss, and redemption. Before Rihanna became a global sensation, a billionaire mogul, and a name known in every corner of the globe, there was Ronald Fenty, a man whose life was a roller coaster of brilliance, battles, and contradictions. Today, we peel back the layers to reveal the man who gave the world one of its biggest stars and the struggles, love, and redemption that marked his journey until the very end. On a quiet Sunday morning in 1st June 2025, Ronald Fenty took his last breath in a Los Angeles hospital. He was 70. The cause of death wasn't immediately disclosed, but insiders say it followed a short illness. His daughter Rihanna, accompanied by her brother Rajad, was there with him during his final days at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. As the world mourned, Barbados grieved especially deeply. Starcom Network News in Rihanna's home country confirmed the heartbreaking news that rocked fans worldwide. Fenty's final days were solemn but filled with family, a rare and precious moment in a life marked by turbulence and reconciliation. The man who once stood in the shadows of his daughter's spotlight was now the subject of global attention. Marriage, family, and fractures. Ronald Fenty and Monica Braithwaite built their life together in Bridgetown, Barbados, raising a vibrant and talented family. Their union bore 3 children: Robin Rihanna Fenty, born in 1988, followed by Rory and Rajad. But Ronald's story didn't begin or end with Rihanna. He had 3 other children: Samantha, Candy, and Jamie, from previous relationships, forming a complex family tree filled with both love and strain. By 2002, the cracks in Ronald and Monica's marriage could no longer be mended. Rihanna was just 14 years old when her parents finally divorced. Behind the sunny Caribbean smiles was a household shaken by addiction, conflict, and emotional scars that Rihanna would carry with her into adulthood. A daughter's pain, growing up in the shadow of abuse. Rihanna has never sugarcoated her childhood. In a 2012 interview with Oprah Winfrey, she opened up about growing up in a home filled with violence. "He taught me everything, and as awful as he was to my mom at times, it didn't compare to how great he was as a father. I had to come to terms with that, and I was able to close that gap with him." Her words reveal the complexity of their relationship. Ronald was a doting father, funny, charismatic, and full of life. But he was also haunted by demons that often got the better of him. His addictions to crack and alcohol clouded his judgment and poisoned his relationships. Rihanna recalled nights of fear, Fridays when Ronald would return home intoxicated, unpredictable, and volatile. Money meant for food, and bills was wasted on liquor, and the atmosphere would turn tense, sometimes violent. "He slapped me so hard. I ran home with his handprint on me," Rihanna once said. "It was out of nowhere." Yet, through all the chaos, she clung to the duality of her father, a flawed man who still held pieces of her heart. The rise of a superstar and the rift with her father. Rihanna left Barbados at 16 and launched herself into the world of fame. Success was swift. From chart-topping hits to beauty empire royalty, she was unstoppable. But with fame came new tensions at home. In 2019, Rihanna sued her father for allegedly exploiting her name through a company he founded called Fenty Entertainment. She accused him of pretending to be her agent to close deals without her permission. The lawsuit was a deeply public fallout that made headlines around the world. Ultimately, the case was dismissed in 2021, just weeks before it was scheduled for trial. Rihanna chose forgiveness over feuds, a pattern that defined her evolving relationship with her father. Rehab and relapses. Rihanna wasn't content to simply let her father drift. She fought for him. At her own expense, she enrolled Ronald in an elite rehab center in Malibu, hoping to break the chains of his addiction. He tried, but it wasn't easy. He relapsed. He embarrassed her. At one charity event, Ronald showed up intoxicated and had to be escorted out. "I feel bad because I let her down," he later admitted. "She spent all that money putting me in rehab and then find me drunk somewhere. What can I say, but I'm sorry." Still, Rihanna never gave up on him completely. Despite everything, she understood addiction, understood pain, and still saw the father behind the failures. When private becomes public, the Chris Brown controversy. In 2009, Rihanna was assaulted by then-boyfriend Chris Brown. The world watched in shock. But what caught Rihanna off guard was her father speaking to the media without her consent. "You grow up with your father, you know him, you are a part of him. And then he does something so bizarre," she said. She suspected he had even accepted payment for interviews. At a time when she needed privacy and healing, the betrayal stung deeply. The rift between them widened, and they didn't speak for more than a year. Yet, eventually, even that wound found a bandage. The healing process resumed, slowly but surely. Behind the smiles, Ronald's own story. Ronald Fenty was more than just Rihanna's dad. He was a man who struggled, loved, failed, and tried again. In his younger years, he worked as a warehouse supervisor. He was known in Bridgetown for his charm and his jokes. People remember him as the man who always had a story, a smile, and a cigarette in hand. He never sought the spotlight, but it found him. At the height of Rihanna's fame, Ronald was thrust onto red carpets and into interview booths. He wasn't always prepared for that kind of exposure. He made mistakes, stumbled publicly, and sometimes caused pain to the very people he loved most. But those who knew him say he mellowed in later years. He grew reflective. He apologized more. He smiled softer. Legacy and final farewell. On June 1st, 2025, the world learned of Ronald Fenty's death. And despite all the chaos and conflict, the overwhelming sentiment was sorrow. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't always kind. But he was real. His story mirrored the struggle of many men, caught between what they want to be and what their addictions allow them to be. His legacy is not just his failures, but also his effort to rise again. Rihanna, who is now a mother of two and expecting her third child, has never been shy about crediting her father's influence in shaping her resilience and complexity. In her grief, she mourns not just a parent, but a piece of herself. He taught her strength. He taught her survival. And most importantly, he gave her life, a daughter's peace. "He taught me everything," she said once. And perhaps that's how Ronald Fenty should be remembered, not as the man who stumbled, but the one who helped raise a woman who stood tall. This was the story of Ronald Fenty. Complex, imperfect, human. If you were moved by this story, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more life stories that matter, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts. Every life has a story, and sometimes the ones we least expect have the most to teach us. Rest in peace, Ronald Fenty. Your legacy lives on in every note, every beat, and every victory of the daughter you raised. Please subscribe.